Welcome to another episode of the Workforce Workshop. Today, we shall talk about the advantages of the contingent workforce. I will start by saying that due to the rising global competition and volatile economy, businesses constantly work to improve their competitive edge. Companies strive for maximum efficiency. Challenges such as skill shortages or unplanned attrition are causing project delays and budget overturns, adversely affecting business profitability and sustainability as well. Despite the rapidly changing business dynamics, an on-demand workforce can offer a solution to these sourcing challenges. They are relatively cost-effective and don't have additional frills such as a lead time or overhead cost. We'll discuss more advantages of contingent workers in this episode. Let's examine the Oxford Economic Workforce 2020 survey to understand better the relevance of contingent workers in the modern workplace. Globally, 83% of executives use contingent and seasonal workers. Your business could benefit from embracing contingent workers. Contingent workers can provide several significant advantages. In this episode, we shall discuss the advantages of contingent workers and how to manage them. But before we get there, let's be sure that we all understand what contingent workers mean. Who are the contingent workers? A contingent workforce is a group of individuals hired to supplement an existing workforce on a contractual basis. A contingent worker is typically an independent contractor or an outsourced employee hired for a finite period to work on a specific project or contract. Contingent workforce solutions are prevalent in business sectors, including finance, administration, information technology, engineering, construction, and manufacturing. Contractors employed under government contracts usually have finite employment terms based on contract awards. Employing contingent workers allow for surge demand to be met with ease without causing the same financial and administrative burdens as hiring permanent employees. Is a contingent workforce right for my business, for example? The ability to quickly and efficiently utilize highly qualified personnel during increased productivity is significant advantages of contingent workers. The cost of labor is usually the most potent business expense, and hiring quick skilled workers can be challenging. 1. Recruitment costs. Recruitment is not cheap or easy. Recruitment teams are often composed of HR professionals, overwhelmed by other responsibilities, and internal recruiters who post open positions on job boards and wait for candidates to apply. Recruiting is not a passive activity. Recruiting great talent is an ongoing daily task that demands an on-the-go commitment. Contractors don't stay on the market for long, and if they are not constantly looking for them, they are quickly taken. You would be wrong if you suspect that hiring only contractors think 1099 would be easier. Recruiting 1099 contractors is more complicated, and they usually cost more per hour since they must pay for both of the employee and the employer taxes. Furthermore, finding a job that meets their specific requirements, circumstances, and demands may be challenging by itself. It is natural for great talent to desire the freedom to contract when their skill set are on demand in the market, desperate for full-time services. While they could work anywhere full-time, they prefer contingent workers. Due to the fact that they control their future, they will not settle for anything less than perfect. The second challenge is the swiftness. As a general rule, you either need it now or very soon if you need contingent labor. Locating great talent promptly can be very challenging. The ability to find people as rapidly would not be possible without the database of 1.5 million contractors. This gives us an enormous advantage. A multiple-tiered approach to team building will help you recruit the best workers quickly. Must-haves: dedicated digital marketing team specializing in contractors SEO. To identify job seekers, a dedicated ad team with an appropriate budget is needed. Quickly find contractors, responsive recruiting team. Creating custom onboarding HR workflow for employees requires an automation team. An experienced HR team provides contract management and legal services for contingent workforce arrangement. Having a project manager who knows budgeting and staffing inside and out, social media teams with the reputation of finding hidden gems and promoting new opportunities in niche groups. Employers who hire contingent workers are usually in industries with fluctuating hiring demands. Various solutions can meet these needs, including long and short-term contracts, niche labor, and volume hiring. Some of the world's largest federal contractors rely on contingent workers to provide quality service to their clients. It's not uncommon for businesses to consider contingent labor. Forbes estimates that by 2050, 50% of U.S. workers could be contingent workers. Being ahead of the curve today will give you an advantage in the future, since the demand will only continue to rise. The next question we should ask: why the contingent workforce is constantly growing. Today's workplace and workforce are both changing. Younger generations value freedom and flexibility above stability and high salaries. These generations favor innovation in workplace practices. Examples include telecommunication and collaborating remotely. They are more compatible with modern lifestyles. Employers' preferences aren't the sole reason for the growth in the contingent workers. The rise of technology has been equally crucial. Freelancing and remote work have become more feasible with the advancement of tech solutions. One example is cloud PBX systems. Workers doing business in different countries can communicate as if they were at the same building with the same tools. Combining a desire for few new forms of work and technology is the key for the future. The growth of contingent workers is explained by one more factor as well. There are various advantages of contingent workers which are enjoyed by firms that employ them. What are the employment rights for contingent workers? The company does not employ contingent workers. They are independent contractors of third parties or consultants. Contingent labor can take on many shapes and duration and become a part of the team just like corporate employees without incurring the overhead costs. For example, the average post-award workforce agreement in government contracts is 3 to 5 years. Even though your contingent workers are not technically your employees, they will function just like them on a day-to-day basis, which is another advantage of contingent workers. Oversee daily activities, conduct performances review, set goals, and create job demands for them. With the contingent workers, you don't have to worry about stock options, 401k plans, benefit management, and other costs associated with employee production. Contingency workers' benefits. In the previous section, we spoke about why workers may choose to have less traditional relationship with companies. Their working lives are more flexible and controlled because they are contingent workers. These workers also offer advantages to the companies that employ them. The most prominent advantages of contingent workers are listed below. First on the list is filling skill gaps and access to experts. A contingent worker is usually a highly skilled individual with a specific set of skills. Among the best ways to fill skill gaps within an organization is to hire such professionals. The majority of companies, and especially SMEs, have difficulty covering all bases. With a permanent workforce, it's not easy to have expertise in all areas. If your workforce is lacking a specific skill, You can use contractors to cover those gaps. Contractors can offer specialized expertise to the organization that may only be required for particular projects. Utilizing a contingent worker for a specific task gives you an experienced professional at your disposal. It is unlikely you can find a worker with the same skill level on a full-time basis. The second one is adaptability. Businesses in the 21st century that operate in a fluid environment. Small businesses must be flexible and adaptable to changing circumstances. Contractual workers' temporary short-term nature fits perfectly with that requirement. A contingent workforce does not bind a firm to an inflexible or long-term contract. Another advantage of contingent workers is that they are resources that a company can use as needed. Contingent workers can be used if a firm has a sudden influx of work. Their expertise allows them to select the right contractor for specialized projects. As soon as the period of cooperation ends, business's responsibilities to the freelancer end as well. The third point we would like to say is new perspective. An organization does not always need a new employee. It can often benefit from new perspective instead. A cost-effective way to get fresh perspective is to bring someone in from the outside. Consultants and advisors on the temporary basis are still contingent workers. A firm's key decision makers can sometimes have difficulty seeing the forecast for the trees in business. Being too close to the day-to-day operations makes it difficult to find new paths for development. It may be easier for a professional without close ties to the company to see things. Such a fresh perspective could make all the difference to a firm's strategic direction. This is one of the key advantages of the contingent workers. The fourth one is streamlining the hiring process. Hiring for your business is often a complex process to solve a simple problem. Your organization needs to hire talented individuals and add skills to succeed. While that sounds easy enough, it requires a great deal of effort and time in practice. Recruiting the right candidate, interviewing them, and onboarding them is necessary. Contingent workforce come with much less red tape, which is one of the many advantages of contingent workers. Freelancers and contractors with experience are often available at short notice. A project can be negotiated, they can be found, and they can be assigned to the project right away. Finding and hiring permanent employee would take much longer. Additionally, the cost of hiring full-time employee is considerably less. The fifth point is trial of a new approach. Another advantage of contingent workers is that they allow firms to be more adventurous. Divergence is also a very risky proposition. Innovating can make the difference between good and great. However, making wrong moves may have disastrous consequences. An organization can more easily try new approaches if they hire temporary staff. This company can provide all the staffing needs for a new project without becoming long-term contractor partner. In case everything goes well, there is a possibility of making a permanent relationship. If not, it's easier to walk away. Companies can meet many important challenges by testing these new approaches. For example, they can meet market demands and improve customer service. The sixth point is reduce costs. When partnering with top talent solution provider, contingent workers can offer significant cost saving. Benefits, recruiting, marketing, and human resources are areas where employers often experience savings. Let's talk about them briefly. Saving on benefits. One of the most obvious ways to save money by reducing medical expenses. The company requests the services of contingent workers who provide them with their benefits and not the company who hired them. The average cost of a healthcare package in the civilian market is about $11.80 per hour. Providing quality benefits to the average employee who works 80 hours in a year would cost nearly about $25,000. Benefits management and HR must also spend time researching new health insurance providers, facilitating Q&A sessions for employees, conducting open enrollment, adjusting employee benefits during the year as they change, reviewing claims, and a variety of other tasks associated with these types of uses. Self-funded plans have a higher cost burden because they assume insurance risks and catastrophic events of high benefit utilization. If you have an increased population or family member, your insurance risk exposure will skyrocket. Aside from health benefits, paid time off, holidays, sick leaves, and also significant expenses, you are now contributing to enormous non-productivity costs due to 7 federal holidays and 10 PTO days each year. Saving on recruitment. Additionally, recruitment costs can be reduced substantially. Human Resource Department take on a heavy load when it comes to recruiting and tax season, and open enrollment can leave recruiting on the back burner. This model provides saving by focusing on the core competencies of human resources, streamline the onboarding process, staffing, and reducing internally boost surge hiring without affecting internal staff, reduce time spent sourcing, candidates saving on advertising. You will also be able to save on marketing costs by partnering with quality workforce solutions provider. Currently, you are not advertising your open positions on a variety of job boards and business networking sites. This offers you a significant advantages as your jobs will be advertised, managed, and marketed on all the major sites. Job boards or individual posting can run as high as $1,200 per application, with niche listings possibly as high as $150 per month. The average social media ad spend per position is $150. With minimal requisitions and experience needed, the average Facebook application costs $10. A qualified candidate may require between 7 and 8 applications. There are also constant ad revisions, nurturing, and retargeting ads. It is essential to have a sophisticated ad manager in order to ensure optimal spending, create ad content, create website SEO or process, and tracks candidate applications. We've only discussed job boards and Facebook so far. The cost of advertising on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Google is also higher, increasing the overall budget necessary to achieve desired results. Marketing costs increase exponentially as audience targeting becomes more complex, and the cost per click rises as you require more technical talent. Saving on human resources. In most cases, human resources are already wearing multiple hats. Human resources functions include employees' benefit, processing payroll, taxes, accounting, managing overhead costs. The right workforce solution partner can reduce the burden placed on human resources by partnering with them and hiring authorities to determine what positions need attention and what strategy most suits the company needs. It can decrease recruiting times, onboarding benefits, processing, legal processes, background checks, drug tests, timekeeping, payroll support, layoffs, and employee management. The goal is not to eliminate your human resources department. You want your contingent labor to require only a minimal amount of oversight in areas typically handled by HR. Our 7th point is to reduce empty seat revenue losses. You likely generate a large portion of your revenue by billing for hours worked, especially if you have government contracts. If you fail to fill vacant seats, you forfeit revenue. Advantages of contingent workers include ensuring that quality employees consistently fill seats and maximize contract revenue. With a great labor partner, you can tap into deep pipelines and network to fill seats quickly. Loss of productivity is second to lost billing opportunities. Understaffing will limit your ability to maximize production, staffing up using a contingent workforce is probably the best option if you are having trouble meeting contractual demands on your operations are not moving at the right pace. If you can use contingent labor as a solution to labor crisis, these obstacles can be overcome by highly qualified contractors with their energy and knowledge. The 8th point is to choose the right fit. With contracted employees, you can ensure that they are the right fit for your team's long-term health. When they hire incorrectly, employers find themselves faced with unwelcome circumstances regarding employment and a benefits issue. This is not the case with contract labor. Before committing to making a contract worker a part of your internal team, you will be able to evaluate how they interact with your coworkers and what types of contribution they can make. Initially, you may limit their responsibilities and then expand them as their talent is discovered and evaluated over time. You may negotiate a conversion agreement with them if they have performed well in order to keep them as internal employees. In addition to highlighting their colleagues' talent and work quality, contract workers can also provide insight into their own. One of the advantages of contingent workers is that they often bring years of experience and their talent can set the standards for the rest of the team. Lastly, the marked and touched factors. Many passive job seekers go unnoticed when companies hire internally. They don't use job boards or apply for jobs through websites. They often rely on their extensive network for new job opportunities. Most of the contractors we place are referral and former loyal source contractors who trust us with their next opportunity. We have a network of people reaching out to us directly instead of utilizing job boards or social networking sites to find their next job. So if I were to conclude this episode, I would say that contingent workers have undeniably emerged as flexible and cost-effective alternative to traditional resources. You can supplement your permanent staff, meet skill requirements at an affordable cost, and introduce new methods through contingent employees. In conclusion, contingent labor is an essential component of future-proofing your workforce against market volatility. In today's tech-driven world, it is time to tap into contingent workers if you also want to align your company with the changing dynamics of the workforce. I hope this episode was a learning experience for you. In the next one, we shall talk about disadvantages of contingent workforce. Links to everything will be in this description below. If you like our content, don't forget to subscribe and hit our notification button. It will notify you about our new content that we share with you every week. This will help us to produce great content for our professional audience. Let us know if there is something you want us to discuss in the next episode. Please click the link in the show notes and you can address your questions directly to me. Thank you for listening and we'll see you in the next episode.